man. Are you in a rut? Want to get out of it? Join the Navy.
Hey, young fella, Navy has news for you. If training or travel or pay you want, get into the Navy blue. Navy trains you, gives you a job that's great. You're sure to go higher, and when you retire, you'll only be 38.
How about it, mate? Look, you could fly with the finest as a radar operator or a flight engineer. Or you may become a sonar man or a meteorologist. Over, under, or on the sea, all over the globe, you'll be doing a man-sized job in a big outfit. The Navy's way up in front in rockets, jets, and guided missiles. So get out of that rut. Get on the ball. Join the Navy.
If you are between the ages of 17 and 31, see your nearest Navy recruiting officer today.
Yes, join the Navy. You can sail the seven seas in the Navy. It's Wednesday night again. And this is the Wednesday Night Mouse Party. I am DM Foss, and with me is Baron SVG. How you doing, Baron?
How did you know I was going to join the Navy? I'm shipping out next week.
How you doing tonight?
Oh, I am alive. That is something.
That's a start. So far out there, there's a couple people. G23 was out there. Wesley Foster, DJ Play Nice, Guns and Barbecue. There we go. Let me get the ticker going. That one. So at the bottom of the screen, there's a, did I click on barbecue? Did I unclick on barbecue? There we go. They're untacticalfoss@gmail.com. And the Mouse Party link, mouseparty.live. If you want to send in comments, suggestions, or pictures within reason, that's a couple ways you can do that. Oh, I forgot to put the link for the Gilded in the description.
Just go to www.mouseparty.live. It'll get you to the Gilded.
You can also chit-chat, hang out with other people, talk about stuff, share pictures, memes, whatever. Have a good old time. Tim S. is out there. Good evening. So let me call up this week's poll. Your screen. I gotta find. There we go. And let me real quick drop a link for that poll. So if you voted in the poll, you can run over there and pull it in the poll. This week's poll was, what's more scary? A 30-foot earthworm, 18-inch grizzly bear that burrows, a meth-addicted squirrel, or a flock of flying jellyfish, or the unknown. And the meth-addicted squirrel won it with 30%. The unknown came in second, 28%. A flock of flying jellyfish, 26%. And a 30-foot earthworm, 15%. Grizzly bear didn't get any votes.
I'm not sure I understood it.
Well, this is the kind of poll you get when it's the middle of the night and I'm on break and I realize I forgot to make a poll on Tuesday. So there wasn't much to understand. But we'll take a quick. There were a few comments on that one. New York Outcast said it's not easy keeping the squirrel under the hood. This was easy. He's referring to his Honda Civic. CNT Designs and Arms said meth-addicted politicians. Rich White said a meth-addicted squirrel would be the stuff of nightmares. Squirrels are bad enough. They don't need to be tweakers on top of it. And DJ Play Nice said hashtag another poll. I don't know if he wanted another poll, just like this one, or was excited that there was another poll.
Pretty sure he likes polls.
Well, what he does in the privacy of his own home is his business. So, all right.
So what did you pick?
I didn't pick anything.
What would you pick?
Probably the earthworm, to be honest.
What would the girth of a 30-foot earthworm be?
I don't know.
Like, would it be like, because they get fatter when they like move, right? Isn't that how they move?
Well, they thin out as they stretch forward.
Yeah, and then they shrink up.
Yeah.
So, like, it might be as thin as a foot and thick as like 4 feet. How big are we talking? 4-foot earthworm that's 10 feet long, and then 30 foot that's 1.
Well, if
What's the span here?
A regular large. Well, let's see, say one that's about 6 inches.
Mm-hmm.
So they'll be about a 1/4 inch thick.
Yeah, it's like a 1-to-20 ratio, something like that.
So
Maybe more.
What does that make the 30-foot, the large earthworm?
It's got to be over a foot. What do you think, 1.5 feet?
I don't know. I was imagining it being thicker, but maybe I was thinking longer than that.
Like, I think you'd barely be able to put your arms around it. What do you think, barbecue?
I am Googling right now. I Googled how long an earthworm is, and it came up in metric, of course. So it's 7 or 8 centimeters, which is what, like 4.5 inches?
Nothing wrong with 4.5 inches. Because other than that,
I lie. It says it's 2 3/4.
Might be a problem with that.
It depends on the worm.
Yeah. I think this is just like an average.
DJ saying an anaconda that's 20 feet long is 3 feet around. Is that
circumference or diameter?
And anacondas don't move the same as a worm.
Yeah. They don't want none if you ain't got buns on.
Truth.
Is other than that, it would maybe be the jellyfish, depending on. I didn't specify a type of jellyfish.
Exactly. Yeah, like their man of war jellyfish.
Yeah.
No, thank
like
you.
The moon jellyfish, or
actually, floating jellyfish might be easier to defeat because, like, when you're in the water, you get pushed around by like waves and stuff. You're going to get pushed into jellyfish, right? But if you're on land and they're in the air, I feel like you could swat them away with like an object. Give me a shovel.
They'd squish.
I was thinking just an EMP, boom, all dead.
Shotgun with birdshot. That's the one good use besides birds is jellyfish.
Yeah, I voted for the 30-foot earthworm. All I could envision is something like Tremors.
I thought the grizzly bear would get some votes.
Can you explain the end of that grizzly bear sentence?
It burrows under the ground.
Okay.
Makes tunnels like a mole.
Yeah, I didn't get that.
No.
Yeah, you put the burrows, but I figured you meant that burrows.
Oh, yeah.
I was like, what? I don't want to
Barbecue
ask the
understood.
question because I'll sound like an idiot, but I don't understand this.
One that lives in the burbs.
Okay.
Ah, I see the confusion now.
Oh my god, little prairie dog grizzly bears. That'd be amazing.
Do you
Yeah,
think
with everything that. Oh, go ahead, Bear. Sorry.
Do you think the environmentalists would still get mad if we had like grizzly bear, prairie dog shootouts? Like if they're killing people, we could exterminate them, right?
No, probably not.
It's the price you pay to live on the planet. Is they eat a human every once in a while.
They take your ankles. Well, I guess it would basically be a badger.
Yeah, it's like a foot and a third.
Yeah.
Is that standing on its hind legs or like at its shoulders on all fours?
Well, this was
Because that'd be
not
even worse.
This was not a well thought out poll.
You can expand and no one would know.
Well, I can't change anything after you post it. So,
Yeah, but you can elaborate on stuff you didn't say.
well, as we're talking, yes, but I can't go back and edit the poll at all.
Yeah, because actually, you said what? Foot and a half? Grizzly bear?
18
Yeah.
inches.
Yeah, because if you're measuring from the shoulder, that only cuts it in half. So you're still talking about a 1.5 foot tall, 350-pound grizzly bear. So actually, that would be kind of terrifying.
What if they look really friendly, like a teddy bear?
I'll
all
put it in
soft.
a sidecar on a motorcycle.
What was the
Uh-huh.
South Park, the Christmas Friends?
Oh, yeah. The Antichrist.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, I just didn't want to do another food poll because that's usually you get a food poll because I can't think of anything. I was trying to quickly think of something that wasn't a food poll.
Which one of those animals would you like to eat as food?
Meth crazy squirrel.
That's probably the best option, honestly. Make a stew out of them.
I don't know if you're in Louisiana, it might be the unknown because you really don't want to ask what the hell you're eating down there, anyways. If it tastes
That's
good,
a good
just
point.
don't ask. Because then you find out it's like roadkill possum that was left to ferment for 3 days. You're like, how'd you make it taste like this? They're like, you're not going to want to know the rest. You didn't want to know the first part.
You seen Top Gear? Jeremy Clarkson, Richard Hammond, James May.
It's been a very long time.
I think they did
But
like a
yes.
trip to Vietnam, and they couldn't read the menu. And Clarkson's pointing at the menu. He's like, "Just tell me what animal is this? Did it go woof when this was alive, or did it go moo?" And
When they came to the U.S., they got in trouble because Clarkson had found a dead cow on the side of the road and strapped it to his roof. And the filming permit they had didn't allow entertainment.
oh
they
no,
they weren't supposed to be funny. They could only be educational. So the U.S. government determined that strapping a cow to the roof was being entertaining.
it's not educational.
Yeah, so
He should have
I got-
showed how to tie it down, right? This is the correct way to strap a dead animal to your roof.
That's all I got. Good night, folks.
Adios.
Something I did not mention that night. We were talking about braces. And by the way, we were wrong on a couple things. I was wrong on more. So don't listen to me. But if you were to live in a state like Washington, and you happen to have a brace on a shotgun, and you were thinking, oh, I'll just Form 1 this for free.
No.
Washington does not allow you to own a short-barreled shotgun, period. So
yeah, I don't think
wouldn't
there's
do that.
anybody that has put a brace on a shotgun.
Hmm?
I doubt there are people putting braces on shotguns anyways.
Oh, no one would ever
No.
do that.
I wouldn't understand why you'd want to do that at
And
all.
I don't think the amnesty covers shotguns. I think it's just rifles.
I did hear someone saying that. I don't remember who it was. Might have been me.
I
Don't
think I
listen to
heard
me.
Barbecue say it.
Yeah, I was talking about it last night because if you look, the only thing you actually see them add any definition to is the definition of a rifle. You don't hear them mention anything about the definition of a shotgun or adding to the statutory definition. But again, if you go looking through the diagrams, they sure as heck show shotgun with a brace on it. But then I was speculating, I was like, maybe it's just one of those deals where, somebody got paid, hey, go find photos of braced weapons and then take and silhouette them out and, put them on here.
You know what? This would be an excellent question to send into William Kirk at Washington Gun Law. He'll call the ATF office and ask for you for free.
Interesting.
Well, I don't know. It probably end up like the race rule, where it's we'll let you know if it's illegal when we arrest you.
I'm not thinking that's going to be the case. I mean, they've done amnesty periods before, and they did it for machine guns, and they didn't arrest anyone. And people were registering like belt feds.
Tim S. is asking, would the SPAS 12 be considered a brace?
Because of the hook?
I don't know. Iron Road's out there. Good.
I don't even know what the SPAS 12 is. Is that the
It's a
brace? Or is that
shotgun
the gun?
from Jurassic Park.
It's the cool shotgun.
The
Oh.
raptor hunter guy. Clever girl. He gets eaten. It's got the stock that folds over the top.
One of the other things that really intrigued me was the fact that they flat out say, pretty much anything that has surface area to shoulder the, as they say, weapon. But anything that has surface area to shoulder your firearm. And in that list is buffer tube.
Mm-hmm.
So at that point, anything that has surface area could have your firearm deemed as an SBR.
From my understanding, the way that's working is it's only if it's not instrumental to the function of the gun. Like if you have a 22 long rifle, AR-15, where the buffer tube isn't used for function, the recoil system's inside the upper receiver. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
So having the buffer tube would be only there for attaching a stock, which you technically can't be doing. So you can't say it's there for function when it's not there for function, is my take. But, I mean, they can still throw your ass in jail. You're fighting it. So, not good.
The last thing that, and this is where it does worry me, is they said advertising materials that were used by manufacturers, because pretty much every manufacturer out there showed these things getting shouldered at one point or another when they were told, oh yeah, it's legal to shoulder those, no problem.
Can't find a good picture with a hook.
Middle bottom.
Well, you know, the whole, showing the whole gun, but and the cool thing about the SPAS 12 is it's a pump and a semi-auto, depending on how you want to use it.
Nice.
Just in case somebody didn't know what the SPAS 12 was.
My other question is, I don't understand why the braces that actually have the hook that comes underneath and wraps around your forearm, why those are illegal. Like that seems like the best option or one of the best options, I should say, for a brace. One, shouldering that would be really funky. Two, every time that you grab your AR pistol, I mean, you're pretty much locking it in place anyways.
My hunch is they got so many comments from people that were against their ruling that they threw out the checklist, right? And they just said, fuck it. They're all banned. That's what you get for fighting back.
Well, it is funny in that 239 pages, they mentioned the form 49999, how it was so confusing that they decided not to use it, and then came up with more nebulous rules that don't specifically specifically specify something that is even harder to understand.
I'm still lost at how they could take that out of there anyways. We had a comment period for a reason. If they're going to change anything, I feel like we should have to have a new comment period.
Yeah, my guess is if you have a brace on it and it's got a barrel less than 16 inches, it's SBR in their opinion.
Yeah,
that's how I'm looking at it.
The whole surface area that could be shouldered part, where they don't specify how much surface area, makes it shoulderable.
Barbecue, did you do that figuring yet on surface area?
Not yet.
So, fellas, it was, 10 years ago? This is like the 10th anniversary of the ATF giving the original approval letter for the OG pistol brace. And that was, Century and SIG adopted that, the SB brace. And Barbecue, I think that's what you were talking about when I was coming up. You know, the wraparound thing, we go back to ADA. And I don't know if you want to go like around in that circle, but when it comes to legislation, I still think ADA is the way to defeat the pistol brace thing eventually, and forever after. And also, I'd like to toss in, on the side, suppressors. Same thing.
I know, I've heard you make that, and I've heard other people make that argument about the ADA and the pistol braces. I don't think that'll ever get traction. I don't think that'll ever go anywhere.
I'm not thinking so either.
Okay. So
let's say it does. So what they say, fine, we require that you have something from a doctor, and and not only is it going to have to be a doctor, but it's going to have to be a government approved doctor, and they're going to make you jump through all these hoops. And by that time, who's actually going to want to do all that?
Yeah, it dead ends based on. I would think. Sorry, boss, that it would dead end based on. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say, yeah, it's just not. It's a non-starter.
going after the NFA is a better tactic in my mind.
I think so. And there was somebody that was drafting in Congress that was drafting a bill. I heard about it last month or the beginning of this month, I think, a couple of weeks ago. And I don't know who it was, and I don't know what the bill was called, but somebody was working on drafting a bill to repeal the NFA.
Yeah, I just seen that. I think it's like House Bill 371 or something, or it might have a fourth number. And if it does, sorry, I don't remember. I know the first two numbers are a 37 though. So if you're really antsy, just start typing House Bill 37 and start with 00, and you got 99 more options. You're welcome. But I think one of the big things could be the Cargill case in the Fifth Circuit right now that could be going to the Supreme Court next session. But on that, any pistol brace cases are going to really have to be crafted in the same way that case is, because if they do go ADA or something like that, I don't know if they'll be able to apply the Cargill case then if it goes to the Supreme Court and gets taken up, the whole 9 yards.
Yeah, and I don't, for the record, I don't really care. Like the Cargill is the bump stock one, isn't it? I don't care about bump stocks. I'm never going to own one. I'm not interested in them. But the idea that the government can ban something that they're not supposed to be able to ban, or that they're reinterpreting what this thing is, what an agency, they cannot do that. Congress makes the law. I can't remember how it was put exactly, but Congress drafts the law. The executive branch enforces the law. The Supreme Court interprets the law. That's the separation of powers. So you've got the ATF who are expanding on what a law is, which is basically making new law, and that's unconstitutional. And like whether I care about the braces or not, it's the idea that they are not allowed to do that and should not be allowed to do that. G23 says the SAF, the Second Amendment Foundation, has already been fighting a pistol brace law under the ADA in Washington State. But I would really like to see the NFA repealed. So I want more suppressors, but I don't want to have to deal with the registering more suppressors. It's a pain in the ass.
What's the wait these days? Isn't it like over a year?
They were coming. The wait time was coming down. I waited 8 months, I think. Friend at work, he went. I think he might have been close to a year. And with the electronic forms, it was supposed to bring the time down. It did get up to like 18 months.
Yeah, that's what I heard.
And then
it's going to be bad now.
The times have been coming down. And then I saw a meme about with pistol brace and the Form 1, the amnesty, that said, basically said to all the people that were trying to get suppressors, said, sorry, you're going to be waiting a while, because they have to process all these amnesty ones first. Yeah,
what I wonder, so they're not banning braces as in you can still buy a brace. They're banning the way you use them.
Yeah.
Is there any way you could use a brace that they're okay with? Like, I haven't found that out.
It's really, you can't tell by the guidelines they put out.
There's 100% a way that you can use a brace that they're okay with, and it's called an SBR.
Yeah. Like, I can duct tape the brace to my forearm and then not attach it to the gun and just hold the gun in my hand. That they're okay with that, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Sounds like it. Which, and my thing is, like, unless you have a physical disability that you need the brace for your AR pistol, why wouldn't you just put a stock on it at this point once you get your free SBR stamp?
Oh, you're going to be waiting a while. I wouldn't be throwing a stock on it until then.
Oh, for sure. I would even have the stuff assembled together. Because if for some reason they did show up and that is already assembled while you're waiting for that stamp, you're toast. That's why in my show last night I told people, when you take these photos, I would separate everything. Take the upper off the lower, maybe take the brace off, have it sitting below the buffer tube or behind it. Just showing that it's not together.
I don't know. I think any photos I submitted would probably have middle fingers in them.
I got a better idea. You could sell the brace to your buddy for $200 and then just pay $200 and get an SBR.
There you go.
You covered your ass. Your buddy can get the free one and he can go to jail, possibly.
I like the way Baron thinks.
Who would ever do that to their buddy, though?
Oh, I'd do it to DJ in a second.
I can't think of anyone that would do that to their buddy. DJ's real quiet.
Still quiet.
Might not have got his audio fixed. Said he was having a little bit of trouble when he came in.
DJ, if you're safe, don't say anything. If you're in danger, shout. Okay, he's safe.
Yeah, and the one of your options you can do is just convert it to a rifle, because then the pistol brace doesn't matter. But then, you'd probably just take it off anyways, because why would you have a pistol brace on a rifle?
For strapping it to your arm because you're disabled.
Well, that's
that.
Can you imagine doing that with a rifle with a 16-inch barrel? If I duct tape an AR to like a crutch, does that turn the crutch into a stock? Did I just solve it? I just solved the NFA for everyone. Duct tape your AR to a crutch.
I feel like it would be an AOW at that point.
The overall length is 4 feet.
Oh, there's probably rules against that. Oh, this rifle's too long. You can't have one this long.
Like if I permanently attach a AR pistol to a wheelchair, what did I build? Did I turn into something else by attaching it?
APC?
I don't know. We need to get a gun lawyer on the show and just bug him with a bunch of stupid ass questions like this for 2 hours.
I feel like you put a rifle on a wheelchair. You just made Wielding Well Arms logo.
Exactly.
Ozzy Osbourne's out there, and he said it's not about the tax; it's all about the registration. I believe so.
Mm-hmm.
That's when was it? Tackleberry said, "Don't register anything," and to let them know they're not worried about the money.
Nope. If they were, they wouldn't be doing this amnesty.
I'm not worried about them knowing what I got. I mean, I already have an FFL.
Well,
Baron's a badass. Check that out.
I mean, if they go full tyrannical, that's why we have guns, right?
Correct. But AFT, I know you're listening. Baron said that, not me.
I did say that.
Yeah.
You hear glass shatter and a bang.
Where's your dog?
Big flash goes off in Foss's garage. You're like, oh my god.
You just hear me shouting, I don't even know this asshole.
And then we hear, puppy neutralized, puppy neutralized.
What's going on, Iron Rogue?
Nothing much. How about you?
You're looking at it.
To be clear, though, I'd rather get SBRs off the NFA than have everyone register. Just like make my position known.
FBI, open up.
Yeah, you guys do what you want.
None of this should be construed as legal advice, except for the stuff that Iron Road says.
Yeah, right. Do not follow my legal opinions.
This is all just a thought experiment.
Fancy. And honestly, Baron, I think this would actually be a good vehicle to get SBRs off the NFA.
Well, they're in common use now. By
exactly.
Any definition, they're in common use already.
Yep. Because you got
they're not in technically lawful use, but they're not being
at one
used
time they were
violently.
I'm gonna say because I think that's a couple things to look at here. Because if that Cargill case goes through, we get a favorable opinion. I think it has a good chance at slapping down the pistol brace stuff. But then, if somebody was smart, they would say that they were damaged when the pistol brace stuff was happening, and that they were common use. Use the Caetano case out of, I think it was Massachusetts, which, only 200,000 tasers were considered to be common use at that time. And I mean, what's that?
Wasn't it Hawaii?
Was it Hawaii? I thought it was Mass. It very well could have been Hawaii. I don't remember 100%.
Doesn't matter.
But even if you just go on the ATF's estimate of 3 million pistol braces, that's a ton more than 200,000.
I'm kind of happy with the common use doctrine, but also kind of unhappy because one thing that I foresee is the government trying to stifle future firearm development for the civilian sector.
I'm not sure how much more could really be done with firearms that has.
Oh, I mean, at
Star Trek phasers.
It goes.
Well, I was going to say this thing is lasers and all that.
That's what I'm saying. From this point, it goes from common, what would you say, traditional or projectile designed weapons where they use a powder or an igniting type of propellant, whereas it goes to energy weapons at this point. And
yeah, but we just had the Navy admit to having those. I don't see those really becoming a thing within my lifetime, at least.
Are we sure it's a weapon and not like a light show for when they dance with the Marines?
Careless whispers playing in the background.
We like to call those naval infantry.
Oh, I just got a message from my recruiter. I'm no longer welcome in the Navy.
I tried to Google the Cargill Supreme Court case, and the first one that comes up if you put in Cargill Supreme Court case is the Supreme Court reversed the lower court ruling that had allowed 6 men to sue Nestle USA and Cargill over claims they were trafficked as child slaves to a farm in the West African nation of the Ivory Coast that supplied cocoa to the 2 food giants. I don't think that's the right one.
I don't think so.
Oh, no, it could be.
I think it's Cargill v. Garland.
Here's a question that I kind of have. How much do you guys think that what Garland has been doing recently overall is at the request of of Biden, or it's just him?
It's
like
him.
How much is it? Like, would you say it's a 50-50, a 50-40, or a 60-40?
Let's put it this way. He was supposed to be on the Supreme Court, right?
So
that was the original nominee.
You think he's got like a chip on his shoulder right now?
If you put Clarence Thomas in his position, do you think he'd be doing what he wanted? I think these people got their own priorities.
Yeah, the Cargill versus Garland wasn't the one I was thinking of.
I think Biden appointed him because he likes his priorities. Right?
I think, well, that's kind of the case with all the, attorney generals that are appointed to the position in the first place. But more or less, like, a lot of the bullshit that ran down with Barr was, it was happening under, Trump's administration. So, like, how much of it was him versus, the president influencing the attorney general opposed to the attorney general just acting by himself?
Mike McClune's out there.
But at the same time, sorry.
Oh, go ahead.
I was just going to say at the same time, Garland could just as easily say, yeah, I'm not doing that, because he does have his own oath to follow and everything still, just because.
And he could sorry.
I was going to say just because the president says, hey, do this. I mean, Nuremberg trials, just because you're asked to do something illegal doesn't mean that just, gets you off scot-free when,
And doesn't he have to be, like, in order to be removed, does he have to be, like, fired by the president or impeached by Congress?
Don't know.
Can you, Baron, can you send G-Webs?
Already did.
Okay. Yeah, because I can't cut and paste on the laptop. Thank you.
So, speaking of G-Webs, you guys seen anything cool out of SHOT Show? You been keeping up with it?
MMP 57.
Aside from that, I didn't even see that from SHOT Show. I saw that off of an update from Honest Outlaw, and to be honest, it's nice to see a new gun in that caliber. But then again, it's also like, yeah. I'm not really interested in that boutique caliber.
I saw a long recoil 308. It's like think of a Barrett. You know how the barrel recoils back with the bolt? And it basically has 0 recoil. It's insane.
I didn't watch the video, but I saw there was a video.
I think it's like $4.5 grand, $5 grand though.
At that point, I'm just buying a Barrett.
Isn't that what that's like the Barrett's, like the principal idea was that they just robbed the idea of a recoilless rifle? And just smacked it into a gun platform?
I don't know. Isn't a recoilless rifle the one with like the vents at the rear of the chamber? It's not really, do you know what I mean? It's more like a weird rocket launcher with a strainer on it.
No.
What am I thinking of?
I don't know. Usually, when
this
you
is
hear
the great
recoilless,
content people tune in for.
Every time I've heard somebody refer to a recoilless rifle, it's just a large, basically breech-loading cannon, rifled cannon. You know, like World War II, they'd mount them on Jeeps, and I know some snow patrols would use them to try and trigger avalanches.
Here we go. Wikipedia says it's a type of lightweight artillery system or man-portable launcher that is designed to eject some form of countermass, such as a propellant gas, from the rear of the weapon at the moment of firing, creating forward thrust that counteracts most of the weapon's recoil.
You might be right.
Sounds like what I was talking about.
I choose not to believe. I'm living my truth. When I've seen them used, I hadn't noticed large gas ejections from the rear. But G-Webs, how's it going there at SHOT Show?
Wait, I can barely hear, so I'm going to try putting in my earbud things.
Okay.
Oh, so this 308 thing, it recoils less than a AR-15 5.56. It's crazy.
Nice. I want one, just hearing about it, but that, like I said, that price tag, that's tough.
I think.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
I'd just rather spend a few grand more and just go get a 50 cal Barrett.
So yeah, the M107 that you're talking about, where it's like, or that platform where you talk about where it's the barrel moving backwards.
Mm-hmm.
You look at a recoilless rifle, the barrel has no movement other than the movement created during the firing procedure, where the projectile leaves the barrel and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
But aside from that, the barrel doesn't move back or forward; it just stays stationary.
This is what I think of when I hear recoilless rifle.
Kind of reminds me of the Davy Crockett, the nuclear launch equipment that even if you tried to run away after immediately firing, you would die.
Well, it's like the nuclear hand grenades that somebody thought up.
Nuclear hand grenades, huh?
Yeah.
What was really scary was that, for me to think of, was like we had like 2 atomic guns. We had like Atomic Annie and one other one. And apparently, like, Atomic Annie went missing for like 30 years and no one knew where the heck it was, and the military didn't know where it was. And it wasn't until we stumbled across it in some third world country, we found our stuff again when it was tested and supposed to be put away in a warehouse in America for God knows how long.
See, I had always assumed when we quote unquote lost a nuke, we sent it to like Israel or something. That was my guess.
To be honest, that always made like I wasn't able to put 2 and 2 together when I was that young. Whenever we lost a nuke, but we had some hot conflict spurting off somewhere. And then I kind of, as I get older, I make the realization that those are dog whistles to third world governments. Yeah, we're giving these guys arms, but we're just kind of making it look like to the normies that we're not. So you might want to tread softly.
Yeah, plausible deniability. Like, last time I saw this nuke, it was on the highway. I don't know what happened to it.
Before you get the big stick,
You guys keep this up, we're going to keep losing them. It's quite the nice patch hole you got there. We should full screen him.
Oh.
I always thought the way that America, threatens another country is dropping another Moab because the expiration dates are coming up on them real quick.
Oh, that's weird. I didn't know they expired. What's
I don't think they really have an expiration date, but I remember hearing something that it was Grantham saying in one of his intros, we're going to be dropping Moab bombs worth of knowledge because we only got 30 years left on these things before they expire, so we're going to just drop as many as we can. And that was like shortly after, I think after Trump had the 59 Tomahawk missile strike.
I don't believe that. I don't believe that there's more to gain by not recycling the material. They can use everything.
Oh, they'll recycle the material, but
there's contracts to do the demilitarization. So anybody that says, oh, blah, 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 to make more money, well, blah, 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 they can pay to demilitarize it. So you're ignoring that, then yeah, they're good.
I think Grantham was saying it more or less to be funny because he was, he wasn't being actually serious. But however, even if they did have an expiration date, I'm sure the defense contractors and the government has, an idea of how to recycle and reuse those things.
So, G-Webs, what's your favorite patch so far you got there?
Maybe this one. This one from Monkey is pretty good. Like Monkey started all patches as far as morale patches, and this is one of his newer ones, and he's creative and cool. This one's pretty freaking colorful and neat.
That one's cool. The Pink's new one, with the glow in the dark.
Yeah,
that one's pretty cool.
It is, and when you have a bunch of them, I think somebody has a picture of them all glowing. Yeah, that's pretty cool.
I do not want that mistletoe one. Who has the
that one you're holding right now reminds me of the one of the fish reminds me of one of the tattoos my friend got while we were in Okinawa. Got a big old koi fish tattooed on their arm. Now that's trippy. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's a neat one.
Right? That's what Mil-Spec Monkey's been doing lately is this tentacle stuff. And then this one is too. That's probably what's his face, right?
Grantham? I don't know. Free shit show? That's funny. Shot show making fun of themselves.
No. These are people rogue. These have nothing to do with official pages.
Oh.
I mean that one. People like this are like, yeah, we're a shot show. People like this, when they do this, I'm sure they don't take that. But
which one is the squid, or is that octopus?
The octopus with a bunch of blocks that 5 times more perfect than a regular fish. It's from Real Avid.
That was pretty cool.
What are they? What's Real Avid? I want to say like it's a Finnish, but I'm usually wrong.
Well, they make, I got an AR-15, AR-10 armor set that I used to build my AR-10.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they just make a bunch of different multi-tools for firearms. and cleaning kits and things like that.
My favorite thing is the magazine vice block and the barrel thing that you could use to lock your upper receiver and with the vice, so you could get that torque wrench and get proper torques back on your barrel.
Sonny Guns is out there. Good evening.
Oh my goodness.
So I was wondering, G-Webs, the really weird gun from last SHOT Show, the one with the rounds were kind of up on the top.
The ounce?
Yeah. Has he done anything with that yet, or is he still developing? Do you know?
I don't, because I've walked everything else except the big room downstairs that he's in. So I'm going to have to walk that one tomorrow, so I haven't walked down there yet. So I don't even know if they're there. No one's talked about it that I know of. And like I said, I haven't walked down there to see if he's there.
Yeah, I hadn't heard anything after SHOT Show, so I was just curious if he made it to market yet, or.
Yeah, me either. So that's one I'm curious about. But like I said, I've been curious to see if anybody else has said anything, and I haven't even heard or seen anything. Has anybody said anything about that revolving? What is it, a 357 or whatever it's supposed to be?
I haven't seen any coverage of that.
It doesn't exist. All they have there is a 3D printed shell of one, and then they're like 4 people that don't speak English in a booth. It's really odd. I think it was a language misunderstanding or something, or just it was. I don't know if I have. I don't think I can share a picture in this.
I've heard something about that, but I can't remember for the life of me who the YouTuber was.
Yeah.
Essentially nothing. It's vaporware. It's like not there, I guess.
That's all that I've heard. I saw a post. I don't know if it was on Gilded, one of the Gilded servers. Somebody had just said all there is basically a 3D mock-up.
And it's not even good. It's like a 3D squirt gun, kind of like just the outside shell of what it would look like if you held it.
Are they? Well, I guess. Wonder if they're just trying to drum up investors.
It was like a lady and 2 dudes, or maybe 3 dudes and 2 ladies. I can't tell because there was a bunch of people standing around not talking English to each other. I don't know what the language it was. I'll just say Turkish because I don't know all the languages. But they were speaking something that I don't know, or think I even know what it is. So I have no idea. I don't think it. In other words, I think it's more of a language misunderstanding or something.
Oh, that's a bummer.
Yeah, it would have been interesting to see at least something. Especially when you can metal 3D print, right? Like, at least come up with something, even if it can't shoot, at least show that the mechanism can work or something.
I honestly didn't know if they would actually show up, and I didn't think they'd have anything, just because there was so little
besides
information to start.
Yeah, from what I could tell, it's like a striker-fired revolver.
Well, that's the thing. It's just, imagine like a squirt gun of a 1911. That's what they got there. Like, none of the insides exist. There's just an outside, what the 3-dimensional dimensions would have been. And I don't think there's a trigger in it. And they couldn't get in the booth. It's like, you've seen how the booths are downstairs. They're not real big. There's a table along the left side, and all the people, the 3 or 4 people are standing there. And there's 2 chairs, like folding chairs that they give you. There's no carpet, I don't think. There might be a banner behind them, and like maybe a banner up front, like a standing banner. And I don't even know if there's a tablecloth on the table. And there's like the mock-up was, if you're in a booth that's a rectangle and you're on the short end of the rectangle in the aisle, so it goes away from you and alongside the rectangle. The table goes alongside of that, so you only have like a narrow situation to begin with, and the fake gun or shell of the gun was at the back of the booth, so no one could even touch it. I had to take a picture from like 8 feet away, looking like across the table at it. It's just, and they were just all talking to each other, like it was just a mess. And it was, what am I gonna go? What is this? And they're gonna go, ooh. So I just kept walking. They didn't. I don't like I say if it was a scam, then they're not asking for money. So that's why I don't think it's a scam. I think it was just like a misunderstanding. Maybe they thought that like, hey, you take prototype here and people point at your prototype or something. I don't know what they thought.
So I have a sneaking suspicion as to who bought the rights. Remember to this particular farm. Who remembers when the Hickok or some of the other GunTube channels did a preview of the Hudson H9?
I remember people and gun
What about it?
bought a Hudson.
Remember how it's like one of those. It was a really interesting firearm because it was like it had like a really high like barrel to recoil spring axis, but it allowed you to grip so high on the gun that it was like practically no recoil. But I remember Yankee did a video about it, why they went out of business, that they basically overpromised too much and kind of just.
Well, the problem was they identified that there was a problem, then they're like, hey, we're going to make a second generation essentially, and people were like, oh, okay. And they had all these first generation ones already made, and people were like, well, we're not buying those. You have a known problem. And they're
Exactly.
like, well, we can't make the generation 2s until all the generation 1s are sold.
What was the problem?
I haven't the slightest clue. It was one of those guns where, you hear a bunch of hype about it, but, polymer gun, I had very little interest.
They were cool looking, though.
I think that was like the biggest thing about it. People just thought they looked cool.
For sure.
Like that's the first thing I heard is, how cool they looked.
And how people that hate, I remember when they came out, the people that loved them the most were the people that hated rails, because they were like, oh, there's no way to put a rail on this because the way it was built. So the gun, it's not a question anymore. Not going to get a light up.
To what I was going to get to was that I remember seeing some previews around about SHOT Show of one of not Palmetto, but I think it was maybe Rock Island Armory, and maybe it was Palmetto. I could be wrong. Where they came out with one of their came out with a pistol that looks very, very reminiscent of the Hudson H9, and I think it was like the TS 50 or something like that from I think it was why am I blanking on the name? Not Palmetto, but Rock Island.
Yeah, I know there was one that came out in the last. It was a couple of years ago that reminded me. As soon as I saw it, it reminded me of the Hudson, but I don't remember what it was.
I feel like if anybody bought the patent and trademark and everything, there would have been a big stink about that. Like, hey, this company bought, the patent and everything, which from what I understand, the patent runs out in like 2 years. So that thing is going to be fair game to start remaking.
That was the Largo Arms Alien, something like that.
Yeah, that might have been.
Well,
that's probably the one I was thinking of.
That's over there. I think it's called something else this year, and somebody else has it.
Here it is. I think it's the Rock Island 5.0. There's that one, and then there's the. I think it's the Rock Island MAP, MAPP, MS.
Oh, they got you to say PP.
The what?
They got you to say PP.
Yeah, I know, right? Ha ha ha. Well, let me do a screen share here. And
let me say a quick hello to M. Gabriel. And Schmaggy42 was out there. Schmaggy.
So, Baron.
Yes.
Who said that Bullpup 357 revolver supposed to be striker fire? Because it doesn't make sense to me where you put a striker on that, because there's so little space back there. I feel like it's got to be just a spurless double action hammer.
My thinking was the striker mechanism would go through the middle of the cylinder and then pop out the back. That was my thinking.
Like a hook.
Yeah.
Come back at it, yeah.
And it'd be like double action only. So each time you pull the trigger, it would cock the striker back and then drop it. But I don't know. I mean, the thing's not real. So
yeah,
who knows if they even know how it works?
Perhaps it's
because they didn't say in the
it's-
articles.
Perhaps it's way different than the Hudson, but I'm looking, that I think the 5.0 really did kind of remind me of the Hudson in a way. I'm trying my best not to show prices, but let's see.
Yeah, I don't think
'Cause I
that'll
know
matter too
YouTube
much, right?
doesn't really like that. But then
They don't
there's
know we
this one
exist.
too that
Foss, we ever had a
kinda,
strike?
But then
Well, that one looks like EAA Witness.
oh yeah, a Windicator or something like that.
Well, the Windicator
gives me like some-
smaller, but
This kind of gives me like CZ Beretta PT92 bulbs. Yeah, vibes, I should say. There was one. At first, I thought it was the STK 100, but
So which one
This
gives you the cheesy PT92 vibes?
this gives me like CZ Beretta PT92.
I don't know which one you're looking at. What, like, what's the model?
My mouse is hovering. It's
Yeah, I'm blind.
He's blind.
This one. Because it's got the frame-mounted safety, opposed to the safety that's on the slide.
Gotcha.
Like a CZ and a Beretta, had a child, and this was the result. And Moses, or not Moses. Well, maybe it was Moses. Was like, what the hell is this?
Noah.
Yeah, Noah.
But let me show. Let me get rid of that. I'll show you what I was talking about here with the Witness. That top one. That looks like what you were showing.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, because you look at how low that dust cover is in conjunction with the barrel. The big fat front end.
So I had a what was it, SAR B6P9 or something, which is kind of like a even cheaper version of the Witness, from what I was to understand, and that thing would shoot lights out. Problem is, they specifically put in big bold print on the owner's manual: "Do not shoot plus P ammo in it." Yeah, it was very plasticky.
Yeah, my compact 10mm Witness was great until it stopped working. And it stopped being great.
Did it stop working, or did it just go on strike?
No, it was the recoil spring. It was not a good. They used the double coil, double spring. It was not a good setup, and it broke.
Ugh.
And then it took me 8 months to get a replacement from them. So
holy cow!
That was mid cough. So, and
Makes
then
more sense.
When they did send me one for free, but then in the letter said it was a courtesy, and basically said that's all you're getting from us. So I'm like, all right, well, let me put this back together, and now I have a CZ75 compact instead. And that was just my experience. It looked like they probably used the same recoil springs for the 9mm and the 10, because it was the spring was underpowered, and I tried to get aftermarket spring for it, but I could not find one that would work right. So once I got the stock set up, I got rid of it.
Eat dick.
Yeah, Wesley Foster G Webs was asking who made the most interesting trade show bag.
Wait, bag?
Yeah.
Star USA makes the best ones each year, and this year it fell apart on me, but I'm stressing it. And it's to me, it felt like originally like something you go buy in the store, right? Like a thing that's reusable and not just flimsy. This Live Free Armory is orange, and I don't know, is this like for headphones or something? So it's one of these like, hippie hipster. I'm in Europe and everything looks weird, but it's orange.
That's old.
This zipper part. That one's kind of neat. I had my patch today in it. Condor did this. Is it German? Is that like Bucktarn? Or is that something new? I mean, there's a lot of new camos out there. But this is Condor's design this year. They just have the one. Sometimes I think they've had like up to 3. But I haven't seen any others. I mean, I could kick the Star one over here, but it's just a big red bag. I haven't been looking. I can't tell you how good of a year this has been. So it's just I've been grabbing patches, but I can grab patches like other people, I don't know, smoke cigarettes or something. I can just do this without thinking too much. So I gather these because I know people for so long. And, but my head's been in other places. So I just haven't been really paying attention to stuff like the bags. I've grabbed Condor bags because they have tons of them for free, and they're like desperate for you to take them. They want these things out there as advertising, and they're right by the entrance to the media room. Essentially, they're the closest. So I grabbed these mostly for this, but yeah, that's a good question. I don't know. There might be somebody else who's needed a bag or something and looked around. Do you know about Mike's Muffler Shop?
No.
Sounds like that's something coming. It kind of sounded like I should know what it was, and I'm like, oh, I don't know. This guy made up the new camouflage, working on some new materials. Like
Tim S. said that's Night Desert Camo from Desert Storm 1.
What, really? I didn't know that. Oh, that's actually this was the Staccato patch today. They make a big deal of only doing one patch every day, and you have to go over there and get it and all this. So this was the one today. Did I already show these obnoxious and stuff?
Oh, it's like James Yeager.
No, I tell you, it's tough going a shot without James there. It's definitely tough. There's a lot of dudes that, from a distance or a glimpse or whatever, and it's like, we're walking around anticipating seeing friends and stuff, right? So it's definitely different.
Chris Winsett said Mike is the owner of Dead Air.
Yeah. Mike Pappas. Yeah.
So the Mike's Muffler Shop.
Yeah, I know. But I thought it sounded like that was something that they're doing that I should have been aware of. I mean, guess who this is going to? What's got? BZ. That's kind of neat. It's a different kind of patch altogether. It's like laser cut things assembled. I don't know how to explain it. It's a whole other level of patches.
Looks kind of cool.
Yes, right? This one's kind of expensive, but this guy makes these things made in USA. Super cool. I mean, definitely, like I say, I do spend time getting these patches. It looks like I do nothing but this, but that guy, I'm going to be talking to more about that guy. So it's pretty neat. I like this one.
That's a big one.
It's big, but it's like, this is the F-35 Phantoms, or whatever they're called. Are they Phantoms? F-35s?
F-22s, because it's a double intake.
And Raptors.
The Raptor, okay. So it's that's Vegas, and that's where they're deployed in Saudi Arabia.
Oh.
Right?
Yeah.
I know the guy that makes those patches. This was a scavenger hunt. And one of the reasons I'm doing this is to pull some of these good ones out. So I should probably be pulling some of these good ones out. I met the Bad Bunny and Rubber Ducky people. Or Fuzzy Bunny Tactical, sorry. Fuzzy Bunny and I think it's Rubber Ducky. So this is their bunny. This is that same guy. There's a red flag is in Nellis. So the combat simulation airplane stuff that's in Nellis.
Yeah, that's the Air Force Top Gun version.
Exactly. That's Scott, and this is the Blue Angels from that guy. He makes the patches for the Blue Angels. We did some trading.
That's a cool one.
This is Piglet saying, "Oh dear," and then he's shooting an M60, so he's saying that, stuttering. Gun Tech.
So what's the most interesting thing you've seen so far?
Interesting. There was a tiny little drone, maybe like that big little mosquito drone. Can fly for 25 minutes and see in thermal. Kind of neat.
How much was that? Did they have a price for that one?
That's not for people to buy. That's for governments or whatever. So I'm sure there's no price on it. Or if it is, we don't want to know. It's just seeing the new tech. The robot dogs are crazy good now. Like the crib robot dog, at least the controllers of the robot dogs, or if it's the AI running around, I don't know. But the robot dogs are creepy, interesting.
They're scary.
A lot. Oh, there's only FN patch, 2 different colors of that. I missed a bunch on this. I have to get in there early tomorrow to get that one. The new one, Baby Yoda tomorrow. Hopefully, if you're watching this and you're here, Baby Yoda tomorrow.
I want to get a robot dog and name it Goddard.
What's that?
It's a Jimmy Neutron reference. It's a cartoon.
Cartoon.
So
that's a Nickelodeon cartoon?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was still.
How does the attendance compare to last year?
That's a debate that we've been having. Do you guys know the story of this place? We'll definitely be talking more about that place. I think, and I've talked to a bunch of people about this, and everybody's different, but I think the attendance is very similar to last year, but the internationals all came back. And I don't know what the percentage of internationals are, because there's a whole bunch of them, I guess, but I think they came back. But not everyone agrees with me. Some people think that it's the same as last year, and some people think that it's more. But it kind of depends. Like if you're standing in a crowd of people, you're like, wow, it's busy. But then if you go somewhere where there's nobody there, you're like, oh wow, it's empty. So if you're just standing there, you might think it's busy, like if you're standing next to a bottleneck or something. But if you walk away a little bit and just, like experience a different part of the show. So if you ask somebody sitting in a booth, their experience is going to be different than somebody walking around. So it's tough to know. But and it's so big, and it's only the second year of the new building and stuff. I think I'm going to say similar. It definitely isn't more crowded all the time, and it's not empty. So I think it's similar. And I think another factor is that a bunch of people, well, I've already said, it got all shaken up. We used to know, this is here, and a couple of booths changed, but we knew where everything was. So once you knew the building, then you learned where everything was, and you could get around. That's all changed. So that's tough to know because there's, like I said, there's so many variables that, people walking around doesn't mean there's more people. It just means they don't know where they are and they're trying to get to where they're going. Right. So
how about vendor-wise?
I think it's the same. Vendor-wise, I've walked everywhere except the big downstairs room, and it's every bit as big as it was last year. And there's only 2 big booths that are noticeably empty. And every year there's like a booth or 2 that are, something happens and somebody can't show up. So it's not uncommon for a booth or 2 to be missing. And I've only discovered, and they didn't shrink aisles or anything like that. It's the same as it was. I maybe discovered 2 booths. If I think hard, I might think of 2 booths. I know one, and I must have seen another one. So there might be 2 or 3 booths that are empty. And then, like I say, 2 of the really big ones that would normally be SIG and whoever else. Smith & Wesson's there. So SIG, I guess. I don't know. Maybe Mossberg's there. So I can't even remember who's not there. Like whoever it is, they're not missed. Like there's no big void. There's just they've told you like if there was a footprint for like a big booth, they'll just put carpet on it so it's squishy and everybody wants to stand on it because it's not hard floor. And then they put couches in there and everybody's just like, oh yeah, well I'm glad they're not here because I can sit down.
My question is I've learned this off of the Twitter profile for the ATF. What was it like with the ATF there? Was this their first year, or was it, or have they appeared to many SHOT shows?
the FBI and ATF are at every SHOT Show. They are the compliance and enforcement. So at least the regulation and compliance. So the enforcement doesn't show up, but the regulation and everything else, of course, they have to be there to be liaison with the industry. They're always there. In 2015, when they pulled the shenanigans about bracing or not, they didn't like the way that YouTubers came up to them, and they kind of decided to kind of do things a little bit there. I don't know. There's a lot of that. So I haven't been down there. The answer to the question is if this is SHOT Show, there's an upstairs and then a downstairs. The middle of downstairs is, I mean, you could say it's nonprofits, but it isn't. But that's where they shove the nonprofits, I guess. And then at the end of them is ATF now. It used to be up here downstairs, and that's when they used to get shit all the time. You see pictures of people walking up to them and stuff. That was always when they're over here. They were over here last year, and I think they're over here this year, but I haven't walked downstairs. I'm not sure.
And they went downstairs because they complained that they got too much shit all the time, or
no, they just were downstairs because they probably didn't want to pay for a real booth, or SHOT Show didn't want to give them a good booth. They're only ATF. They're not cool or nothing.
Imagine my shock.
Wesley Foster's asking, who was the most interesting person that you've met?
Unfortunately, I have to say it'd be a douchebag, but I met people that I can't talk about this time. I didn't mean to, but you know what I mean? Like, so I've met some interesting people, but I can't talk about why they're interesting. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I'll tell somebody off air, I guess, and just don't say stuff, but it's nothing secret. It's just that, you know, people have things that they're doing and they're not supposed to talk about, kind of thing. This has been an insane year. So I personally have met lots and lots and lots. How about this? I had a conversation with Gear Report. So
I like that one.
This one is Rubber Ducky Tactical, I think. Yeah, it says right on there, right? Rubber Ducky Tactical. Jeff from Gear Report. I've known that guy for years, right? And we had a chance to really sit down and chat this time. So Jeff knows a heck of a lot of stuff. Like, that guy is super smart about stuff on the internet and whatnot. So I found that to be super interesting. There's actually a couple of people that I've just had opportunities to have conversations with, and we'll be having them on the show. The Daily Gun Show is going to be different going forward. I mean, right now it's real shitty, but it'll get way better. And we'll be having a lot more interviews. I've got interviews with quite a few people. Michael Cargill. I've talked to Michael Cargill a couple times. You guys were mentioning him earlier.
Yeah.
Introduced him to Yankee. So I think one of them are going to be on each other's show. Also, I think he's already on. I'm not want to say who he's also on. He's going to be on with somebody who we all know. And I'm just not going to be a douchebag and say anything, but that already happened. And it's been a crazy good year. So that's a good question. And I'd have to wait till the end of the week for sure. Oh, I met like patch people. I met so many patch people, like designers and stuff, because I decided to, I don't know, for whatever reason, I decided to go down and hit this one room first, and I was like coincided. This is like a suppressor that looks like a bomb. It just coincided with this one group of other patch people, and then, you know, it's like, oh, well, then go over here. And then like, oh, go over here. So I just met a bunch of people that I knew of that were patch designers. Modern Arms, the Bunny people, and a couple of others that I knew of. I knew of their patches, but not of, you know, that there were people walking around.
G23 was asking, is there a buzz about the pistol brace issue?
There's no buzz about politics this year, at least not from anybody that I've heard walking around, and I've walked at least 15 miles, I think, at SHOT this year. And media day, I guess. I forgot how many miles that was. But aside from a joke here or there, okay, I don't know. So I did hear one thing, and that is, if they really wanted to cripple the industry, they would have done the pistol brace thing after SHOT Show, after all the deals were done and stuff started to go into, you know, production, and that would have crippled the industry. By putting it up ahead of time, they just hiccuped it. Does that make sense? And they didn't really follow through, but I never heard anybody state it that way. I was like, oh, that's interesting. And it wasn't the time to get into it. It was just sort of kind of said. And I was like, oh, shit. I never thought, no one said or presented it that way. I mean, that's about aside from like, if you're looking at a brace and somebody might say, unless, then we'll put it and make it an SBR, like, you kind of hear something like that. As I've talked though, I'm walking around and if I'm having a conversation with people, I don't make appointments so often. It's like, oh yeah, it's so and so. Let's walk as you're going to here to there. Let's talk on the way. So, I'm hearing conversations, but I'm not listening to the conversation.
Anybody else have any questions?
I was thinking about going live whenever you're done to do my wrap up of the day because it's insane. I'm just kind of looking for, I think I've completed this scavenger hunt. You had to get, I don't even know how many. I have to compare it to my picture here. But Tough did this thing where, right, Tough, you get this little tiny patch panel. I don't know if you can see it in the video or not, but there's
little hexagon.
Oh, you can see them? Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
There's little hexagons there. And then each of the companies that participated, has one that fits in there. You set it up however you want. But Pink got them all in one day. I ran around trying to find some, and I took forever. So it took me a couple of days to do it. But somehow today I ended up, just doing some stuff. I ended up doubling up, I guess. So I might have a couple of extras. But I know I'm missing some, so I'm kind of digging through to see if I can have a complete set or if I have to go back tomorrow and do it again.
Chris Winsett wants to know who makes the best or most patches.
Most patches? Well, I know Allen Anchor a lot, so I know how many they're making for other people. If you count like ones they're making for other people, it's probably Allen Anchor or Tough. Tough makes a lot of patches for people, and I'm discovering more and more about how to determine where they're coming from. And you know what? This year, though, unfortunately, for a lot of people who like a lot of these companies, somebody got out there and started selling them these glued together patches, which a lot of people are not stoked about, that it collect patches and stuff because they don't last forever. I'm not crazy. Like everybody's just saying the same thing. Like, oh man, these are so cool, but they glued them. Trying to look for one. Oh, this would be interesting. So I think Tough. There's other places that have a lot of patches, but they don't make them all. Tough makes a bunch. Oh, you know who makes a bunch though? 511. Are they the best though? I don't know. I'm trying to figure out what is this. So we know it's the lever action 9mm, right? And it's cut out in the shape of the gun. It's got the Velcro sewed on it. But what is that? A sticker on there? Or is that lasered on there? I don't think it is. I think Angela.
It looks printed.
Yeah, she thinks it's printed on there. So what do you think of that? I mean, that's a whole nother kind of patch now. And you're going to go through all the effort of making the blank patch, I guess, because you're not going to get I don't understand it. I guess you can't get the detail they're looking for. But then it looks like white when you get it at the wrong angle. Or just like nothing.
Yeah, it's not my favorite.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Yeah.
It seems kind of odd.
Yeah, Smeggy said he had a glued Dan Wesson patch that came apart in the car from the heat.
All right, now let's see how many are on that. Where did I put them? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Does that sound right? Yeah, that's an odd number. 5 and
Well, I think we might shut this one down, and then you can do your wrap-up show for the night.
Sure.
So we'll get back to you in a second. Iron Road, anything you want to plug?
Sorry, you just made me run back to my headset real quick. No, nothing much. I don't have really anything going on right now. I'll probably put up a shooting video, maybe. I'm going to go out shooting tomorrow.
Cool. DJ, did you get your mic working? Or are you still mute? DJ stands mute. So, well, I will plug for DJ. He usually plugs Brooke Cheney's Saturday chat. Barbecue, help me out here.
Brooke Cheney, Suicide Prevention, every Saturday, 9 p.m. Eastern. He also likes to plug Costa Conversations. Go over, check out those guys and what they're doing. Small channel, only 200 some subs right now, so you can help bolster them. And believe he would usually sign off now and say, be safe, carry your guns, and rock.
Thank you. Now plug yourself. Go plug yourself there.
I think I'm going to have to plug myself with a thermometer or something. I'm not feeling well. Just would like to remind everybody, go over to Patreon, check out the non-existent DM Foss channel because he is an amazing American. That's like, you know what? I'm not going to be beholden to all this fiscal crap. I'm just going to do my channel the way I do it. And one day I strive to be just like DM Foss. Thanks for the invite, sir.
Well, thank you. Baron?
Take care of yourself. Have a good night.
G-Webs, anything you want to say before we shut her down here?
Thanks for hosting. Thanks for the link.
And are you gonna be on both your channels?
No, I don't know how to use StreamYard from this phone. So it'll just be a regular, like, lame YouTube type of thing where I stream from the phone.
Okay. So G-Webs will be firing up a chat here in a little bit to talk about his day at the SHOT Show. So thank you to everybody that was out there. Leave a comment if you watch this in replay. And those who were watching but didn't say anything, appreciate you too. No overnight this weekend. It's an off weekend. So next chat will be next Wednesday for another Wednesday night. And do anything else, Baron, that I'm forgetting?
If you want to talk to us in the in-between, come join us on Gilded.
Yes. I'm always there, on and off. You won't see me, but I'm always watching.
Did you have a poll at all this week?
Yes.
Okay.
When is the bracket?
We only do brackets on Gilded now.
Hope
you can do them on my shows, Baron. It's okay.
Hope everybody has a good rest of the night.